Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Business Growth Show, where we talk about all components of business and how to utilize them for exponential growth. My name is Athin Cassiotis. I'm a business growth strategist where I help business owners grow and scale to create freedom and choice. And today, I have an awesome guest. He's an inspirational public speaker, best-selling author, podcast host, thought leader, teacher, broadcaster, producer, and a life and business transformational coach. He helps his clients find abundance, meaning, and joy in their lives, and is featured on CNN, CBS, Fox, The Jack Canfield Show, and in Forbes and Entrepreneur magazines. And he's named in the Wall Street Journal as a master of success and is listed as one of the top 10 life coaches to watch for in 2021. He is spearheading an evolutionary uplift in universal consciousness by awakening people to the importance of their unique role and enabling them to manifest their dream life. Welcome, Daniel Mangena, and thank you for being on my show.
Thank you, AC, for having me. Oh, yeah.
Love it, mate. I like to bring the energy, and you definitely brought your unique energy
Of course,
to the
man.
show as well. That's what it's
Gotta do it.
Definitely, mate. Love it. I'm sure it's going to be amazing for everyone watching and listening today. So you're a very successful entrepreneur. So for those people who don't know who you are, just please introduce yourself by telling us about you and your journey.
I was actually having a conversation with someone around the use of the word journey before, because there are two different ways we probably approach the idea of an entrepreneurial journey. Most people have had a conventional beginning. You do the university or the college thing, you go and do the career thing, and then I'm going to go and do the entrepreneurial thing. Whereas I've actually not really had a grown up job. I worked in a call center 6 months in my mid-20s. I lost everything twice by the age of 23. When I was rebuilding, I worked in a call center just to cover the bills while I was building up another business. But other than that, I worked in a cinema when I was 15, but that's because I was bored. By then I was already making and selling computers. The whole time, really, I was always on the grind, doing the entrepreneurial thing is kind of what I've always known. So yeah, my journey has been going through the evolutions of success and failure, and having some real life lessons around what it is to be a value creator, to be an entrepreneur, versus my journey to entrepreneurship being from somewhere into entrepreneurship.
Yeah, cool. I love that, mate. Very interesting along that journey. And I'm sure it's we're going to get some gold out of you today for everyone watching and listening. And, I think one thing in your life, there's a term alignment, right? In our lives, and it's becoming more common these days. And, from your story as well, I'm assuming that, you were able to align yourself better over those hurdles that happened there. So in your eyes, what does alignment mean first? And then, what are we aligning to at the same time?
I think the second part of the question is probably the most imperative thing at this point, because what are we aligning to sets the landscape for if we're going to be aligned, how we need to be aligned, and what the alignment's going to look like. Because what we're aligning to really is either an intention, right? A clear, deliberate choice, or we're just aligning to our unconscious programs and patternings about what we're pulling out. And when we're aligning to something unconsciously, for the most part, we're either going to have a disconnect with our conscious choice to align, because we're going to be trying to go for this and when we're going for that, or we're not going to be conscious of anything and we're just going to be sort of bobbing along, churning out the same results in our business and in our life. So I like to first and foremost say, well, let's get clear on what it is that we're aligning to. Let's set a very clear intention that's disrupting the pattern and program of what we've been on. And then we can look at where we are out of alignment and use that as the basis of dictating where we need to get back into alignment. For me, alignment has 4 core components. Number 1, the goal or the intention, right? Is that aligned with my values? Is that aligned with my current identity? Is it aligned with what I'm really called to do at a heart level, a soul level? Then aligning of my emotions. Are my emotions supportive of that goal or intention? And if they're not, it's not going to happen. Then I've got to look at my mental stories, my belief systems, my narratives in my mind. If they're not aligned with the outcome, that's not going to happen either. And then I've got to look at my habits, my actions, my behaviors, my environment, the people I'm conversing with, what I'm doing every day. If those aren't aligned, then it's not going to happen. So alignment for me really has to start with either a goal or an intention. And then I'm going through this checklist of pieces to make sure that they're lined up with it so that I can actually get the outcome that I desire.
Yeah, I love those different pieces. Really powerful, mate. And it all adds up to an amazing structure to create it. And I think that really, moves quite well into success, right? Because once we're aligned, then we can get success, right? You know, in that mind. But I think success is different for everybody at the same time, like that definition, which is quite interesting. So I'd like to know from your perspective then, you know, with this alignment, you know, and then we get this success, let's call it, like, how do you define success? I'm intrigued, but also, you know, can we do it without setting these intentions, you know, that you've been talking about as well?
I believe you can, but it's going to be a lot more challenging to accidentally stumble upon success, right? If I'm not consciously choosing, then I'm going to be unconsciously moving towards whatever I've been moving towards up until now. There's no, what they say, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So I can't not change the pattern and get a different outcome. It's going to be the same. Now, if what I'm getting right now works, hand clap, well done. But for most of us, if we're having these conversations, our business isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing. Our family life's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Our personal life's not doing. So we do actually need to change something. And if we want to change something, we need to disrupt it with an intentional goal. So that's the first point. For me, then success is my ability to actually get to that outcome. I think I read in a book once, success is getting what you want and happiness is wanting what you get, right? But that still demands of me to have some intentionality, some deliberateness, some conscious relationship to what I'm churning out. Otherwise, it probably is just going to be the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Love that deep realization there. And I know a lot of the time, you know, with how you help, you know, your clients is about money, right? And, you know, so you teach people basically how to manifest money. So firstly, like, why do you do this?
The reason why I really got into it was because I wanted people to consciously create their own lives, because that's a big part of the mission I feel that I'm called to do in the world. And there were two problems with that. Number one, people kept using money as a reason why they couldn't sit and do the work that I wanted to take them through. And number two, there isn't really a measurable way to track anything that's not tangible. And so tackling the money portion, which was giving people the opportunity to see, oh, hang on a minute, I can use these tools to manifest something tangible that I can track. And then the byproduct of that is that they have more money, so that excuse isn't available anymore. So what ends up happening, Athin, is people end up having the space, the resources to live life on their own terms, to have the space to consciously create. And they then have a working model that's been tried and tested and tracked that they can apply to go and create other parts of their life also.
Yeah, love that, mate. Really powerful. And if we can delve a little bit deeper into this, because I know you've probably got so much gold that you can help people, is, you know, because a lot of the time, you know, from my awareness is that it's a belief thing initially, right? In money that can help a lot of people because of these limiting things that, you know, my dad said, money is the root of all evil to me hundreds of times growing up. Like I remember, right? Same. All of these, you know, things that our lovely parents put into us, among other people in the world, and that. So, you know, is there something that you can share with us, like a key shift in our beliefs, or maybe a key action or something that we can take, you know, to start manifesting money more?
Yeah. So for me, any outcome that you want has to have alignment. And the alignment has to exist physically, mentally, and emotionally. So some people believe that there's a different playbook for creating different things. I don't believe that the universe, God, source, divine, whatever word you want to use, I don't believe there's a different playbook. I believe that our stories, our narratives taint our vision and give us the distorted view that there's a different playbook for creating anything. But it's all the same playbook. It's all the same rules, because it's the same universe that we're creating. It's the same reality. So if we look at an outcome that we want, the outcome is going to happen because how we've shown up in our life has allowed it. If I want a healthy body, well, then I need to have actions, habits, and behaviors that align with a healthy body. If I don't have those actions, I'm not going to have a healthy body. But then I also have to have a belief system that supports the healthy body. Otherwise, my unconscious identity is going to sabotage my habits and behaviors, and I'm not going to get the healthy body. Or I'm going to do all of the habits and behaviors, but because of the limiting belief system, my body's not going to respond to those habits and behaviors, and I'm not going to get the outcome. And then even the law recognizes the concept of crimes of passion, in that our emotional state has a deep impact on our ability to think. So those unconscious thoughts are also being limited to our current emotional state. So my emotional state has to line up with the money or the health or the relationship. My mindset and beliefs has to line up, and my habits, actions, behavior, they need to line up. So when we're looking at manifesting money, and this is what my book Money Game is all about, it's understanding how you can, in very short order, optimize your emotional state, your thinking and beliefs, and your habits, actions, behaviors, so that you get the outcome of money. And that's going to be different for everyone, because all of us are going to have a different thing that we're missing. Some people will have money habits, but then have a limiting belief system or a disempowering emotional state. Someone might feel really good about money, but have a limiting belief system or not have good money habits. Or someone might have the most powerful belief system in the world, but then have trauma that they haven't addressed in their emotions. Even if they've got good habits, there's still going to be a disconnect. Whether you get it and lose it, or you get it, but it's really hard work and you end up burnt out and not enjoying it, or it doesn't come at all. All of these things are going to come as a result of which pieces of the puzzle are out of whack. So Money Game is about bringing them all into alignment. But for people that want to do the deeper work going forward, it's understanding, is it my emotions? Is it a lack of clarity on the vision and identity I want? Is it my limiting beliefs? Or is it how I'm showing up every day? One or more of those things are out of whack. If you don't have the outcome, click it back into place and it's yours.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Love that. And what I'd say as well, from my perspective, is that you have that area of the money, right? But you can do so much yourself, but sometimes we need this outside perspective, right? It could be that emotional trauma things and stuff like that, because we don't necessarily know what it is, but maybe we have to go through a process. So you think it's important to obviously do as much as we can, but then maybe do we need, certain types of people, whether they're coaches or mentors, or certain people that can take us through a process to uncover certain things. So do you want to maybe share a little bit about, maybe some other people that can sort of, balance and give us that different perspective to get that breakthrough, so to speak.
And this is where my Money DNA material really kicks in, because the kind of person that's going to be able to support us, the kind of support that we're going to need, right, that's going to be determined by us as individuals. So one of the things that we look at with Money DNA is a model that was created by an author called Gretchen Rubin, called the 4 Tendencies. And what Gretchen Rubin identified is that we deal with expectation in different ways depending on who we are. So some fall into the rebel type, like me. So for rebel type, me having an accountability partner or a coach telling me what to do is death. It's not going to work. So there are people that are like, oh, I've got accountability, I've got a coach, I've got someone telling me what to do, and I'm still not getting it done. It's because you're not aligned with it. Whereas someone who's an obliger, they need it. If they're not being held accountable, they're not going to get to the end goal. So I would say it's important, I feel, not to fall into the trap of cookie cutter approaches, but to really dive in and know yourself and understand yourself, so you can see what kind of support do I need. Because what worked for you, Athin, or works for me isn't necessarily going to work for Bob, Sue, or Andy. We're all individuals.
Yeah, love that, mate. Thank you for delving deeper. And I'm just curious, because I know that there's a lot of empowering beliefs around money. Is there maybe like one or more belief that you could share with us that you think is a great empowering belief around money that if we choose to adopt would help us to counteract something else? Yeah,
brilliant. So my son's mum's Russian, all right, and for a while I got really paranoid that I was the only person in the house that didn't speak Russian. So I was secretly learning Russian, right? And so I had to get the Russian keyboard on my phone. I'm looking at all these characters. I'm like, oh, Cyrillic. It's like, oh my God. It's like, especially the one. Now, some of them are fine, right? It's like, okay, I get it. But some of them are really confusing, because when I look at it in the Cyrillic, it looks like a letter that I know in the Latin script, but it's a completely different sound. So like what looks like a backwards N is an I sound, right? What looks like a P for me, is a R sound. What looks like a number 3 is an E sound, and what looks like an E is another sound. And it was baffling my mind, and something clicked for me 2-3 years ago when I saw that. It's, oh my God, they're just squiggles. They're literally just squiggles, and these squiggles have got meaning. This squiggle to this person has one sound reference meaning, and this squiggle to this person has a different sound reference meaning. But at the end of the day, it is just a bloody squiggle. Right now, we're in a time in history when money doesn't have any real value. The most commonly accepted and held form of money is fiat currency, which has no value. It's just numbers on a screen that people agree to accept exchange for. Someone literally sits behind a computer, presses a button, and there's numbers on a screen. And these numbers on a screen have got value. And these numbers move at the flick of a button between people's screens. And then we say, I've got money and I can use that to exchange for different things. We are literally getting emotionally tied up on squiggles on a screen that means something to one person, something different to other, that people want to give you. All you have to do is give them a reason or excuse, solve a problem for them, liberate them from a place of pain, give them a reason to actually transfer those numbers across, and they will. So we've got these numbers on a screen that fly around at the flick of a button that people want to exchange with us if we can just do something of value for them.
Yeah, I love that perspective of how it is. And I went to Russia for the World Cup in 2018, and yes, I had to use Google Translate as a side note. But I'm Greek background, right? And the Greek alphabet, there's actually some similar characters in the Russian.
Oh, brilliant!
So, which is interesting. Yeah. But it's a bit more. There's a lot more squiggles. I'll say that much. More squiggles going on. But thank you for Google Translate if you need to really be.
Amen. Amen.
But that's cool, man. I like the way you break it down so simply. In that way, it's really powerful to give us that different perspective, because I think that's what we all need. We need a different perspective to make change in what we do. Really powerful. So, from all this stuff, what's going on, I know a lot of people, they can work long hours, they can get a bit full on, right, in what they do in their business, in their lives. And, meditation is talked a lot more about. It's more recognized these days, as a way to switch off from, all of this that's going on. So I want to get your perspective on meditation, but also know that you tell people to stop meditating as well, which is quite contrarian, which is interesting. So I want to maybe, delve deeper into this.
Yeah, people get really upset. So I write for Entrepreneur magazine, and I wrote an article that included that in the title. And we have people in uproar because Entrepreneur, they tag me on Twitter when they post the tweets or whatever. What are you talking about? I'm never reading your magazine again. I was like, did you read the article? I'm never going to read such an article. I was like, dude, if you read the article, you see. I wasn't negatively talking about meditation. I was actually giving people an empowered way to use meditation more productively, because so many people get caught up in the one aspect. I mean, I've spoken about my flow funnel framework a couple of times today. What's going on with what we're feeding, what we're thinking, and what we're doing need to be aligned with an outcome. But if I'm just focused on the spiritual side or the mindfulness side, then I've left out everything else. And so many people are stuck waiting for their magical formula of a magical chant or a yoga pose to bring them success in their business. Dude, what's going to bring you success in your business is delivering value to people. What's going to bring you success in your business is making some sales, right? That's going to lead to success in your business. But meditation is a very powerful way to prepare your emotional state, to prepare your mind so that you can be of more value, that you can deliver, so that you can maintain an equilibrium internally, that you can be better resilient to deal with the challenges of life and business. But if you're just sitting around waiting for your mind movie or your vision board to translate into an outcome, probably not going to get there. We have to tackle the mindset. We have to take some action too that's aligned. And that's what the phrase stop meditating is all about.
Yeah, cool, man. I love it. It's part of the whole puzzle, so to speak. That you got to have all
exactly. It's a puzzle piece.
Yeah, all the pillars to make sure that we can do what we need to do. And I know, obviously, you're into a lot of mindfulness and spiritual practices and things like that. So if we delve a little bit deeper into this, I like this topic as well. And it's not talked about as much, in business, so to speak. But I know that a lot of people do it, or it could be some certain hacks or certain other things that people do to connect better to themselves or to something else out there. Is there something else apart from meditation that you do, or that other people do that can help them, I guess, feel more aligned, or certain practices that can get that for them, that where their intention in their lives as well?
What I would say is more important than me listing things off is people playing with different ones for themselves and seeing which ones work. So I've got a free resource on the website. It's called a Clearing Toolkit Encyclopedia. Clearing Toolkit Encyclopedia. And for that, I've actually just gathered over the last 20 years a load of different modalities, and it explains them and it gives you some links to try them out. We also have got a free evergreen masterclass that's on the site where I actually got some of the teachers and practitioners of some of these things and got them to give like a little demonstration or a little mini class that you can use. So that's a free resource people can use. But I would say just try different things. All right. This free resource will help them to go off and get something done. There'll be other ones as well that they can try. There's ones that I've never heard of. There's new ones being created all the time. But I would say just try a few, find a few that work for you and dive in with those. Meditation as a commonly referred to practice, there's many different types. There's guided, there's silent, there's TM meditation, there's walking meditations, there's, you do tantra, there's sex-based meditations as well. There's loads of different ones that you can use and different things aside from meditation. Just try a few out and then find one that works for you.
Yeah, awesome. Great direction there as well, mate. And yeah, my wife and I we're I guess quite conscious in a term and delve into these things. And I'm very open, to trying new things. And it's it definitely helps. And I think that's the biggest thing that I'll just add, right, is having that mindset to just be very open. Because if you go to one of these things and you're like, oh, I don't know about this, and I'll just check it out, you're probably not going to get the full experience or the full breakthrough that you want. And this is anything. This could be in business. If I go to big events, with big speakers, I go in like an open book. So it could be a spiritual practice. It could be a business event. I go in like an open book and go, I'm going to take everything in. And then when at the end, if I don't agree with 100%, I might agree with 80% or whatever it is, that's fine. I can make the decision then, but I'm making sure the filters are open, because if you have the filters closed, I'd be interested to hear from your perspective, then you can inhibit, right, what you're going to learn and then impact yourself.
100%. Because at the end of the day, we can only receive what we're open to receiving. If I've closed myself off from receiving, then I've closed myself off from receiving. I'm not going to get anything out of it. So I need to be open and available to new inputs. I need to be open and available to new perspectives and ideas. Otherwise, that same programming and patterning that we're speaking about before, it's just going to keep churning out and playing over and over and over again. It's only by me inviting new data, new inputs in, that I can challenge what's happening internally and then create a different outcome.
Yeah, love it, mate. Really powerful. And, it's interesting. I know with the human needs, Tony Robbins talks about them. And I think certainty is a big one, right? Where people want certainty, they want control, right, in what they do, but we can't necessarily control everything, right, in our lives. So do you want to maybe talk about control, what we can and can't control a little bit more as well?
Sure. See, one of the most powerful teachings I initially had around that is the circles of influence framework. That just reminds you that there's only going to be a certain amount that you have direct control over. Now, I believe in direct and indirect control, but I don't believe that we have the processing power to monitor the indirect control. It's a byproduct of our actions, habits, and behaviors. So there's domino effects, and you can actually predict the domino effect based on how you're showing up. So if I'm focused on an emotional state that is limiting to a certain bandwidth of thought that's fixed me to a certain bandwidth of habit and behavior, then there's a certain bandwidth of outcomes that are available to me. So I can't control all of the other pieces. I can't control other people, but I can control my internal flow funnel, and then also how I respond to other people's flow funnels and how they show up in my reality, the boundaries that I set up, the choices that I make. So I don't try and control other people, all of the pieces. I have dominion over myself, agency over myself. And in my circle of influence, which is what I'm thinking, what I'm feeding, and what I'm doing, I develop discipline around that and have it locked in a certain bandwidth so that I'm limited to a certain positive range of outcomes.
Yeah, love that, mate. Really powerful. And I know there's a term that you call, which is micro shifting. So yes. Do you want to maybe let us know a little bit more about that and how it can
yeah, sure.
as well?
Yeah, so micro shifting, there were a couple of pieces where that came, but one of them was when I made my first million, I used it doing a process called the double method. So one of my first mentors is a guy called Stuart Goldsmith, and he did this experiment back in the early 2000s, like 2000, 2001, where he basically did the math and said, if you take a penny and double it 28 times, it takes you to 1.6 million pounds with a couple of rounding downs and rounding ups here and there. All right. So I used the model. It worked. I did it again. I went to go and use it again in 2008. I got to about 120,000. I needed the money, so I used it. 2016, I went to go and do it again, and I got stuck. when I got stuck, I realized it's because I was a different person to who I was when I'd done it before. Now I was really connected to community. I was more heart-centered and so on and so forth. So I needed other components, but the model itself still worked, that when you take baby steps, there's little resistance. You can build the resilience with each step. You can build the resources with each step. And most of the things in our life, if we just broke them down, I mean, the common adage, you want to eat an elephant, you don't do it in one mouthful, you do it in small pieces. And so microshifting is just a framework that's built around that concept that adds a bit more substance. And so the definition is a consistent series of baby steps made in the direction of a consciously chosen outcome. So I've got consistency, I've got consciousness in the direction that I'm moving in, and I'm compounding minimum deliverables, the least thing that I can do. But if I keep doing that, there's going to be no resistance. I can build momentum. At some point, there's always a quantum leap in the direction of the outcome that we want.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Love that. And it's a bit like reading a book. You know, I've heard the thing is like, just start with reading a page in a day or something like that, right? And then eventually you'll start to read, like, you know, a book a week or something, because you just keep increasing how much you're reading, right?
Exactly. And you'll build up the resilience, you'll build up, but most importantly, you'll build up the momentum and the unconscious buy-in, because you have been doing it consistently. A lot of people don't get an unconscious buy-in because they're not doing it consistently. Because there's no consistency, the mind's like, dude, this isn't what we do. I don't know what you're talking about. Bye. Sorry, I'm not going to follow through. Versus, oh, that wasn't too bad. Oh, I guess we're doing this now. Oh, I guess we're going to keep going.
Yeah, I love that. And, you know, you talk about this consistency. Is there, you know, a certain amount of time that you feel, or range, where the unconscious buys in, where we get this, like, we've got to do it for, you know, this 60 days or 90 days or something?
Yeah, definitely. And it's different for everyone. And one of the things we've also mapped out in Money DNA is ways to shortcut that and to increase the efficiency of getting that done. Because again, there's certain indicators and markers that we can use based on certain personality tests for us to know exactly how to get the maximum impact from someone. But yeah, we've all got a different thing. But yeah, there is a time frame based on who we are that's going to lead to us actually getting the outcome.
Yeah, love that. You mentioned personality tests just then, and I know there's so many of them, right? It's so interesting. You know, there's the DISC, which has been around for a while. There's so many out there, and you could potentially use multiples of them. This is just a very simple one. There's, you know, Myers-Briggs. There's so many. So which one, you know, do you think is the most powerful to understand people, so we can then make better decisions for ourselves?
I don't like to use one. We use a range, but we use odd ones, and we use them for different ways. So we use erotic blueprint. People are like, why do you need to know if I'm kinky? That's not what I'm looking for. But there's data in that information. We use the 5 love languages. We use human design. We use gene keys, Colby tests. We use Myers-Briggs. We use mind time. We use motivational mind map. We use a load of them and pull the data from it to give me the data points I want to map someone's money DNA.
Yeah, interesting. I love the different ones. I recently, learned about human design actually myself, and I'm a projector.
What type are you? Projector?
Yes.
Ah, yeah. You lazy git. You guys get away with so much. You literally just hang around and wait for stuff to come to you. When I get clients at projectors, I'm like, really? You literally. And it's funny watching projectors want to work really hard and do loads of stuff. It's like, dude, do you realize how lucky you are? You are literally energetically optimized to just chill and wait for things to come to you. It's really cool. But yeah, I am jealous. I am jealous, to be honest.
What are you, Dan?
I'm a generator, so I do the grunt work. We're the ones that do the grunt work.
Hey, you know what? Like, there's pros and cons, right? Because sometimes, you know, my energy is challenging, right? If everyone here as a projector, I'm like a sprinter, right? It's like, you know, I can go in bursts, but for me to work 12-hour days, it's hard.
No good.
Yeah,
3 to 4 hours a day, 5 hours max is the best. And the less that you're working, actually, the more efficient you're going to be.
Yes. So it's, you know, and right now while I'm building businesses, it's like far out. So I just need to like take breaks and, you know, do these things to
be supported. One of the great things about the projector type is projectors are here to be guides, to be counsels, and to direct, right? And to consult. So having a team that's going to support you, maybe you've got a manifesting generator to take it and get it going, and then maybe like as a number 2, and then some generators to do the grunt work for you. That'd be good support. And you can do that from contractors. You don't need to have, you know, a full-time team. There are ways to do it efficiently without needing to take on all of that exposure.
Yeah, love it, mate. Thank you for sharing that. And I definitely recommend people to, start doing that test or find someone that understands, about human design. Because it's one thing if, you could do a free test online, but you really need someone that understands it or do the research yourself to understand the little intricacies. Because I think one really powerful thing that I realized about this, and this can be different for everyone, because it's not just being the type, the projector, but it's also how we make decisions. And mine is by my instincts, mine. So I'm like in the moment, right? Like my instincts, whereas other people.
Are you splenic? You're splenic.
Yeah, splenic, correct.
Yeah.
So whereas my wife, she's a projector, but she's a gut feeling decision maker. So she needs to feel into it a little bit more, right? Than what I do.
She's solar plexus.
Yeah, solar plexus. That's the one. Even though you're a projector, well, and this doesn't matter what type you are, I think understanding how you make decisions is really powerful because, a lot of people say in business, make decisions quickly. Now, for someone like me, great, but for other people, not for everyone, right? At the same time.
Yeah. So pillar 4 of Money DNA is decisions. And we actually use that part of the human design to map out how we make decisions and then how we act on them as well. We map into one of the pillars of Money DNA too.
Yeah, cool, mate. Very cool. I love it. I love these conversations, and when and this comes to the awareness piece, right? About just how we are, because once we understand that, like from a decision perspective, or just the action that we take, in our lives and everything like that, and how we can, how our energy is so many different areas there, and how we work as a team, right? And then there's like, I don't know. I know you talked about gene keys. Do you talk a little bit about wealth dynamics in what you do as well?
Yep, we use wealth dynamics as well. Yeah, that's one of for pillar 1. We base a lot of pillar 1, which is the vehicle, on the wealth dynamics. We do the top level, and then if we're diving deeper, if someone comes to do a VIP day with me, or we're doing a bit more deeper work, we'll go and do the full test and work out exactly what the percentages are of the different 8 points. But initially, we just look at which of the 4 types they are, and that alone will help cut out a big chunk of what people are doing to probably drain their energy, so we can get them focused and get them leveraging and getting real good multiples on their time, energy, and resources.
Yeah, awesome, mate. I love this. When you put all these things together, it's like this amazing puzzle, and then it just comes to something. Really powerful.
For pillar 1, we cross over erotic blueprint and wealth dynamics profile.
Interesting. I think my wife actually got me to do that, something like that. This. Yeah, I remember once I was like, "Why am I doing this?" But anyway, so there's always value in something, right? Be open. I'm always
exactly.
So that's very, very interesting, mate. On how that works, because I don't know. Is the reason for this? It just came to me now. Is sexual transmutation is a powerful thing. In Think and Grow Rich, it's talked about. So is that sort of the reason for that, or is it just happens to be a good correlation?
It's another correlation. It's another thing that we can do for the layers. I mean, that's not Money DNA. That's we'd use that data through just the sexual transmutation. But if you look, the erotic blueprint gives you how you're naturally tied and linked in with your carnal desire. So when you really, really freaking want something, this is how it's communicated with you. So if you understand that, you can start to interject that in things. So I think it's Mike Tyson that says, I do what I hate like I love it. That theme's discipline. I do what I hate like I love it. And that's great. But not all of us have got the energy, the bandwidth to do that. Some people do, and some people don't. Then you've got motivation. Yeah, we can map your motivation on my map, but then we have to layer all these other things in to make sure that you stay on top of it. If you're following the sexy, which is the way I talk about it, follow the sexy and inject the sexy in all the things that you're doing, you're never going to need to, I need to go and motivate myself to go be sexy. No, you don't have to do that. Sexy calls you. It's a carnal desire. And so we use erotic blueprint to understand what we need to interject in things and to look for to make sure that we've always got the sexy to follow.
I love that. Bringing sexy back, as they say.
Yeah. I'm bringing sexy back. Yeah.
Great song, huh? I gotta love it.
Yeah.
You got a better voice than what I do for singing. So I'll let you do those.
I'm a bit practiced, so I'll give you that one.
That's it. I can do voices. That's my thing. I can't sing, but I can do voices. So it's weird.
Amazing. You're singing without the music.
That's right. I get into character. I've done it from a young age. So we've all got different talents to
exactly.
Love it, mate.
Exactly.
Do you want to just quickly talk about, we touched on it earlier, but coaching and mentoring. And I know that in business life, it's very powerful to have coaches and mentors around us. So do you want to maybe talk about, importance in your life, having coaches and mentors, and how, they've helped you to achieve what you have in your life?
It's been imperative, is the long story short. It's been imperative. I probably still would have been the twatty little toe rag that kept losing everything, was it not for the fact that I had mentors and guides that put me back on track, that I was ready to listen to as well. And even being ready to listen came as a result of mentorship and guidance. A mentor for me is someone who's been where you want to go. A coach or a guide may not have been there, but they know how to get you there. And that's a very important differentiation. And when you're being mentored, guided, or even coached by someone, you get the benefit of their experience. So you can cut your learning curve. You can know what pitfalls to avoid, the best way to go, things to look out for, things that you need to be prepared to deal with. And that's not possible when we try and do it by ourselves. So for me, mentorship, and this is something I even did a couple of TV interviews about beginning of this year, imperative, really, really imperative. And I've got so much love and gratitude for the mentors and guides that I've had, but they definitely helped me shortcut my journey into success.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Love it. Completely agree. Coaches and mentors have definitely helped me to get where I am, and I'll continue to invest in them over time, because it's one of those things that the more we grow, then the more everything else grows at the same time. So, love it. And just quickly about how you said you talk about these big failures, about making a lot of money, losing it all, a couple of times. Do you want to, because a lot of people think, business is all good and, you just build it up, make money, but it's an up and down journey, right? And
the average multimillionaire has gone bankrupt twice, or at least lost everything twice. That's a statistic. In America, the average multimillionaire. So if you've only crapped it out once, you're only halfway there. You've got another crapper before you're hitting the average, right? You're a good company if you've crapped it a couple of times. So yeah, it's just like, just understanding this game isn't for everyone. Right? There's a lot of people, come and be an entrepreneur, come and be a coach, a consultant, you can do it overnight and blah, blah, blah. Not for everyone, bro. Like, not everyone's built for it. And I think, there's a lot of job shaming that goes on now. People, I've got a 9 to 5. Be grateful for your 9 to 5. Maybe that's what you're here to do. And there's no shame in that. And I think the second that we stop, shaming people for just having good, honest jobs or, having a career, and leave entrepreneurship for the people that are ready to deal with the ups and downs and the being out in the, literally being out in the streets by yourself with no backing, which is what entrepreneurship is a lot of the time. I think less people would have the stress, because a lot of businesses don't make money. I think there's a ridiculously high number of small businesses in the US, 80% or something fail within 5 years or something stupid like that. I don't remember exactly what the data points are, but most people don't make it. So yeah, bear with it. Understand it's going to be a bumpy ride, and strap up, because it's a lot.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Love that. Really powerful. And it's been an amazing show today with everything you've been sharing with us. Loving it. And we've gone down some cool little rabbit hole journeys as well. And I guess as we're wrapping up today, what one key piece of advice would you like to give to all the entrepreneurs watching and listening today?
Don't try and do it all by yourself. Understand who you are, and don't try and do everything other people's way of doing things. Find your flow, your way of doing it, and be really clear on what you're doing it for. I'd say those 3 points.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Really, really powerful. And we connected through our networks, where I learned about your awesome journey from, I know you're diagnosed with Asperger's and all these issues with losing money and making money again, to now, empowering the world. You're an awesome guy, and I'm sure you continue to help, find abundance, meaning, and joy, in the lives of people. Very grateful that we connected, and I look forward to working with you as well. So, Daniel, how can people find you and get in contact with you?
Dreamwithdan.com. Dreamwithdan.com is where everything is. Links to my entrepreneur articles, my 2 podcasts, my books, the free resources we spoke about earlier. Dreamwithdan.com is where everything's at.
Awesome. Definitely check out Dream with Dan, everyone. You can see he's a wealth of knowledge and wisdom, and just, an awesome guy. And he's definitely worked out a lot of key things and correlates so many different things together to just create that dream life for yourself. So definitely a man that you want to learn from. And thank you to everyone for watching and listening to this show, where we talk about everything on business growth. And this is all linked to business growth, right? When you're personal and business together. And please like, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as Athin Cassiotis, or visit my website, athincassiotis.com. If you want to grow and scale your business, you can reach out to me, see if we're a good fit. And I completely agree with you. Or do I? The only way you will know is if you tune in next time. So until next time, remember that our business grows when we learn skills and take action using them in spite of fear. So remember to design your growth and results.